Very much, Michelle. Joined by a couple very special guests this morning. Gina Cicero with the Warrior Princess Project.
Correct.
And one of the stars of Big Brother 15, Howard Overby. Welcome to Breakfast Television.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, let's get right to it. The season that you starred in quickly became known as one featuring a few people, people talked about homophobia and racism. There was a lot of venom flying around, but you established yourself pretty quickly, Howard, as a stand-up guy. Was this one of the most challenging circumstances you've ever found yourself in?
Oh, absolutely. It was so inhumane to be in that house at times, man. It made it hard to play the game, but persevered, and I'm on a big breakfast television show in Canada. It's like awesome, man.
And you're gonna be on The Bold and the Beautiful too, I just heard, which is
Yes,
pretty
yes,
phenomenal.
that was awesome experience as well, and it's all because I went through that. So it's a process. I forgave the people I needed to forgive, and moving on.
You talk about moving on. This is a wonderful union, the
Yes.
Warrior Princess Project.
Yes.
Gina, tell me a little bit about it and how this. There's a mission here. There's a lot of work to do in the next week.
Over the next year, actually.
True, yes.
So we're a nonprofit organization, and basically our goal is to empower, protect, and educate. So with education, in October we have a Resolve conference that we're going to, and we'll be sitting in front of the health minister and the Board of Education. So we want to get into universities and get into teaching about domestic violence, because nobody touches it, right? They're so afraid to kind of. So we need to do that. And then empower, we just want women to kind of, or men too, because it's a whole family type of process, and we just want people to take responsibility for their own lives and do something for themselves. So we have media, we have the pamphlets, and we have functions and fundraisers.
Purple
and
bracelets.
Purple bracelets that we're
Yes.
now selling, and they'll be selling all over in the next week as well.
You've
Yes.
put these resource lists out, and people are going to see these start to pop up all around the city, resources for those that are being impacted by domestic violence. Howard, how did you get connected with this? Like you mentioned, here you are up in Edmonton, Alberta. You're from Mississippi. I know that you've been doing a lot of running around the United
did this
States
happen?
based on some of your media obligations. What brought you here?
Actually, just the foundation, Ms. Gina here, reached out to me not too long after I left the house. I got evicted, so it was actually great timing. And we chit-chatted, and she told me about the foundation, and it was a great cause, and I just love to be a part of it. So, like you said, domestic violence is something that needs to be touched on. It affects everybody. It's even affecting my life. And it's a broad aspect of domestic violence. It's just not a woman against a man or a man against a woman. It affects children. It's bullying. It's everywhere, and it's rampant, and it affects everyone.
Isn't it interesting? We hear about these cycles of violence, and we know that, especially, Howard, you reference children. We hear time and time again that if a child is impacted by domestic violence, he or she is more likely to exhibit signs of domestic violence or those tendencies as they grow older.
Absolutely.
And what is great about this is that you are empowering them with the knowledge of how to know if they're in a situation. Is that sort of, and you're going to see going to a lot of schools. Is that right in the next week while you have Howard here?
Yeah, today we're going to be going to St. Philip, so we're going to be talking to the elementary. But then we have some meet and greets all over the city, and then we have our big fundraiser on the 28th, which is a music fundraiser. And we're helping the Jessica Martel Foundation this year too, so we're going to give them, percentage of whatever we raise, which is good because I don't know how much you guys know about Jessica Martel, but she's fantastic. That foundation is fantastic. So the city does need more women's shelters, or just shelters,
absolutely.
period, right? And for men too, like. Men get abused all the time, and there's not one shelter for a man to go to.
You know, it was really interesting. We took part in this Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event down a couple of weeks ago at outside City Hall, and they talked about how the incidents of domestic violence in Edmonton were around 3,500 calls. Edmonton police responded to about 3,500 calls. They said 82% of those calls impacted a woman. In other words, a woman was a victim of violence, and a lot of people said, listen, that's outstanding. It's not, what is the word I'm looking for? It's very impactful. It's quite striking to see that number. I think a lot of people also, though, were impacted by, well, that means that 18% were men. In other words, 1 in 5 were men, and I think a lot of people are equally shocked by that.
Absolutely. It's very shocking, but at the same time, not so surprising, because there's so many different aspects of domestic violence, and like I said, it can affect you mentally, which can affect you physically. So, and then the guys are very prideful. They won't step up and say anything. So I'm sure it's probably more than that. But it's just a great cause to help everybody right now.
And of course, as you said, it sort of culminates in a fundraiser event happening next Saturday, the 28th. Information is on breakfasttelevision.ca. A music fundraiser at the 100 Bar downtown. It is an exclusive event, so go and get some details on it. But again, it's intended to create awareness, raise support financially, as well as just to sort of get the momentum going. It's a discussion people need to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we actually got a lot of donation items too. Amori Jewelers donated a custom $3,500 Warrior Princess ring.
Wow.
One of my high-profile clients actually just donated, I don't know if you've seen it on my Facebook, a $30,000 grandfather clock and vases, like porcelain doll.
You're kidding?
Yes.
Wow.
So they donated that to help us out. Like, it's beautiful.
And you can get a picture with Howard
I mean, come on.
from Big Brother 15. Something
way.
tells me that we're going to be seeing you around town over the next week or so. It's great to have you here. We extend you the warmest of welcomes to Edmonton, Alberta. Gina, amazing work that you're doing with the Warrior Princess Project. If you want more details on this, you'll find them under the Inside BT link at breakfasttelevision.ca. We're back with more Say What coming up. Bridget and I right after this.